Hello everyone, my name is Gritsada. I'm a sculptor and character designer, and today I'm going to show you how to sculpt your own monster. As you can see here, I have a wired armature of the creature that I'm going to sculpt later on in the process. I have taped a few layers of masking tape at the bottom. This secures it pretty tightly onto the wooden base that I've got right here. The wire that I've used is your basic clothes hanger wire. I do this because clothes hanger wire is a little bit more stronger and durable than your average armature wire. But in here I've also entangled some armature wire to latch on a little bit tightly in the hip area, since it was a little bit weaker before. Now, what I have here are a couple of tools that I'll be using in the process. Here I have my own loop tool that I've made with a brass pipe and stainless steel wire, sort of like tweezered at the tip so that it holds on tightly. So double-sided right here. I have a dental tool right here with a sharp tip, good for adding detail. Here I have a spear end and sort of like a spooned surface where I could apply extra clay onto the sculpture later on in the process. Last but not least, one of my favorite tools is a crab picker. You got a blunt side right here and a bit of a sharper edge right here. This is great for adding texture and detail. I'm going to start off my piece by adding clay to the surface area right here, which is a very simple process. Basically, you're just trying to get the simple shape downs first. Now, although this process might take a while, it is a very crucial process because in this stage you get to discover the actual volume of your character itself. Now, I begin by applying clay onto the torso area. This sort of lets me understand where all the weight is going to fall onto in his anatomy and sort of block out the basic bone structure of the creature itself. Now, I like these hard shapes, these hard lines right here, because they kind of get in like deeper angles so that you can really feel how heavy the upper body might end up being, and that you could shape sort of the muscle structure of this character. Starting to add some of the muscle shapes in the arm right now. Just put some volume in there. Typically, a creature like this looks a lot more interesting when the arms are a lot more longer than you would expect on average creatures that we've come to know today in nature. I'll flatten this portion out a bit just to give a hint on where the wrist might be and how it would continue on to the rest of the hand itself. Still adding more clay just to develop some of that weight and give a hint of a rib cage right here. So what I've just done here was added clay to the entire body. Now I can begin to dedicate more time into developing the actual muscle structure and the proportions of fat that is distributed around the area of the entire body. A creature like this, you would like to give it pretty much of a broad, strong chest and heavier muscles in the back so they could support a lot of that weight just fill up some of this right here. And what I will do is to continue on applying the clay to a certain amount where I feel that it works with the overall piece. And anything that feels like it doesn't belong, I'll just carefully remove that amount of clay and work at it until it feels pretty much right. This is where my design sense comes in, and I would totally advocate for you to study other creatures, other animals in nature to help you get a grasp of their anatomy, the way they move, and their muscle structure, because you could definitely apply that to the art that you will do. Although it's pretty much impossible to find a creature in nature with this type of body structure. But then again, you could also apply a lot of imagination into this. Just be inspired by what's out there. So here we are. I've blocked out the creature to a certain extent, and I'm still adding on clay and gathering up some weight onto this beast right here. Now this is a sort of like an odd configuration of the hip structure that we got going on right here. Now I'm trying to develop some harder angles to give it more of like a bony shape. And then on top of that, I'm going to dull it down with extra clay, you know, just to make it look like the muscle structure would be able to uphold all the weight of this character. Well, now that I have my character blocked out to this extent, I will begin to add even more clay by smoothing it on to the surface. This way, I kind of get to see sort of like the direction of where all the muscle is attached to, and how it flows throughout the body. In this state right here, you could really begin to see where this creature is going, and how he's going to eventually look in the end process. But with this guy, I'd like to add in something a little different. Let's see. Just going to take my own initiative, creative process right here, and maybe implant another head just to make him a little different. Give him some sort of oddity, or even more oddity than what he is so far. Oh, just build that head right there. Give him a little bit more volume in the jaw area. While I'm at it, I'll probably just start giving him another arm or two. Here I'll just sculpt up a makeshift arm for the time being. It's nothing permanent, but it would give me a good idea on where I would put the other arm as well. So maybe I'll attach it to the rib cage, possibly there, maybe even lower. Well, it's still in the process of being made, so nothing's written in stone, and I can move it again later if I choose to, just for design purposes. Let me add on a second arm here. Give him a little bit more volume. Just give a hint on where in this strange anatomy is everything connected to. And build up the head a little bit. And here we are at a certain point in which I could begin to definitely fill out some of the spaces that may require a little bit more presence of volume and shape and flesh. Just to place them, or sort of place them in the real world, on how we've come to understand anatomy among living creatures. But still retain some of that eerie strangeness of what this creature is. Here I'm developing a little bit more of a lower rib cage. Maybe I want to connect the larger arms with the smaller arms a little bit more, because it feels like such a big gap for the time being. The distance feels a little bit too much, as if he was stretching out of the body a little bit too much. So I could either bring the arms back a little bit, make him a little bit more part of the overall creature, instead of looking as if he was pulling away from the rest of the body.